between I'm not comfortable sharing something with you and I'm deliberately going behind your back to hide something
Yeah.
from you because I have ulterior motives to why I'm hiding something from you.
Yeah. Have you made some money mistakes in your relationship? Well, we certainly have. We've been together for years now, but along the way, we've made some big money mistakes, small money mistakes, but money mistakes nonetheless. But we've come to realize that yes, a relationship is built on love, but money can actually make or really break a relationship. So, today we're going to talk about 5 money mistakes that can cause tension in a relationship or drive a wedge between you and your partner. And we hope by doing so, you can avoid some of those things and pitfalls in your own relationship.
The first mistake is hiding your finances from each other. This is actually known as financial infidelity. Now, we all understand infidelity from I guess, a regular couple relationship perspective,
Right.
but financial infidelity basically is where you're hiding your finances from your partner or you're doing something behind their back from a money perspective.
Yeah.
So, this may be that you hide your financials from your partner. This could be your salary, how
Mm.
much debt you're in,
Hmm.
how much savings and investments you have,
Right.
to spending money behind their back without telling them and them not knowing what's happening with the
Yeah.
with the accounts. And so financial fidelity is a huge thing, and hiding finances from each other is a huge money mistake to make in your
Right.
relationship because this actually leads to more damage than good. If your partner was to ever find out the finances that you've hid from them, that could actually be a very, very ugly conversation to have,
Yeah.
and things could go really south. So imagine if your partner finds out that you've had a bunch of savings saved that they had no idea existed.
Mm.
That could really cause some tension. In fact, it actually questions things like trust,
Right.
openness in the
Right.
relationship, and it could end up going towards, them questioning other things that have got nothing to do with finances,
Yeah.
but the financial infidelity that's happened will cause open doors to other things that they will start questioning and worrying and
Yeah.
thinking, well, if you didn't tell me about this, what else are you hiding from me? If you
Absolutely.
didn't tell me about that, what else are you not telling me about?
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned the last bit because I think I would definitely be the type of person to do that where I'm like, okay, so you didn't tell me about this money. What else are you really not telling me about? And it happens because when you talk about trust, trust is a really big thing in a relationship. And you also have to trust each other when it comes to your finances. So I would definitely be like, so what else? What else? What else have you been hiding? What else didn't I know about? So it's definitely a big money mistake.
Yeah, and to be clear, what we're not saying is you have to tell your partner everything. If you're not comfortable sharing something, then don't share something, but just make that clear and upfront with them and be honest and say, I'm not comfortable telling you about this, that, and the other.
Right.
There's a very fine line between I'm not comfortable sharing something with you and I'm deliberately going behind your back to hide something
Yeah.
from you because I have ulterior motives to why I'm hiding something from you.
Yeah.
And that's the money mistake that we're talking about.
So the second money mistake is making financial decisions on behalf of each other or making a decision on behalf of the other person without consulting them first. So just to give you a random example, right? Christmas is coming up, right? So imagine one of you just deciding that, okay, this year we're just going to host both of our families at our house. But on top of that, we're going to get them gifts. And on top of that, we're just going to host them and pay for all the food. Now, this is already going to impact your finances because you're covering everything to do with Christmas. However, you've also not had that conversation with your partner to then sort of see, like, okay, where do our finances stand? Number one. Number two, can we actually afford to host everyone, pay for the food by ourselves, buy everyone gifts? But you've then gone and made that decision by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why this is such a big mistake is because you're making a we decision
Yeah.
by yourself. And it's then like, well, when did we decide to do this thing? Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you decided on your own. And then I'm just having to pull up my wallet and pull up my card and pay for something that I had no say in doing. And this is such a huge mistake because, as you can imagine,
Mm.
this will lead to so many money issues and
Right.
money conversations being had that are not going to be positive.
Yeah.
And also, it's just going to create a bigger rift between the two of you because instead of now you both enjoying that Christmas together,
Yeah.
you're now going to be butting heads basically
Right.
during Christmas instead of just enjoying it together because you've put yourself or put your partner even
Yeah.
in a very interesting position where they didn't want to be in the first place or a position that they had no say in being in the first place.
Right. And think about the fact that it also causes resentment
Yeah.
Because then if you had done it, I would probably resent the fact that, hold on a minute, why would you make such a decision without talking to me? Number two, what if I wanted to drop in some ideas of what we should do for Christmas? So it builds a lot of resentment. And this is where the tension comes in your relationship. So it's definitely worth having conversations about those things and agreeing on what to do when it comes to your finances.
The third money mistake that couples make is leaving all the financial responsibilities to one partner.
Mm,
Now, we understand working together as a team, and if your
yeah,
partner is very good at budgeting, better than you can, let them do the budget.
yeah,
And if your partner is better at managing the investments or everything
yeah,
else, you can let them manage that side of things. But what we're talking about is where you completely be ignorant about your finances and you say, my partner sorts everything out for me.
yeah,
I'm not going to be involved in any single thing or
right,
any single part of the finances. The reason why this is a huge, huge problem is because, well, anything can happen to your partner. And
yeah,
if anything happens to your partner, then that puts you in a very tricky position where you have no idea with what's happening with your
yeah,
finances. You have no idea how to manage your household bills. You
yeah,
have no clue about what your investments look like or what this looks like. At the very basic level, you should at least be involved in some way to
right.
have some clue about what's going on. Because if you don't, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And you have to think of worst case scenario with some of those things, if we're being honest. I know we don't like talking about death, right? But we have to be completely honest with ourselves. If anything was to then happen to your partner, such as death, you wouldn't even know where to begin because you've been out of the loop with your finances, you've been out of the loop with things like your bills, like not knowing when they come out, not knowing what sort of bills you have. It's worthwhile just having the basic knowledge, like you were saying. And just to give you an example, we are a bit like that where Tando's really good with the investments and I'm really good at budgeting and knowing the bills and renewing the bills and stuff. However, we have monthly meetings about these things where he will tell me, well, this is what's going on with the investments, this is where the investments are and stuff like that. This is how much we have. I'll have a look at them, see what we're getting and stuff like that. And vice versa with the bills and the budget. I've got a spreadsheet, right, where I've listed all the bills, when they need to be renewed, how much they are, and we'll sit down and we'll have that conversation that, look, this is where we stand with the bills and stuff. So it's worthwhile having that conversation, at least be in the know, rather than to just completely say, no, I'm not good at it. I don't really want to know about it. At least know something. Just in case the worst case scenario does happen, you're at least in the loop of what's going on. You know where you stand financially.
Yeah, and another worst case scenario is if you split up.
Right.
And if things end up really ugly, your partner could essentially abuse you financially in the sense of they literally take advantage of the fact that you haven't been involved. They walk away with,
Mm,
I guess, all of the assets and all of the money, and you're left with nothing. But you're not
yeah.
aware of these things, so you
Yeah.
might be caught off guard.
So the fourth money mistake is imposing your money beliefs on your partner. Now, if we're being honest, imposing anything on your partner in a relationship is a big no-no, and it's such a big deal because if you think about it, your partner has their way of doing things, you have your ways of doing things, and it takes a lot once you're in a relationship to sort of start coming together and doing things together, but it becomes such a negative thing if one of you is then imposing your beliefs on the other, right? So think about it this way. An example, if Tanda was to come in today and be like, well, my parents used to budget separately. They just used to do their own thing and stuff like that. That's what we should start doing in our relationship. But then I'm coming in like, well, no, my parents used to budget together and stuff. Already we're butting heads. It takes a lot for us to then come together and be like, okay, let's sit down, let's have a conversation about this, and let's find a way around it. But if I try and impose my beliefs on him without trying to see where he's coming from or trying to understand his perspective or why he's saying, okay, let's budget separately or something like that, then that's where we have a problem.
Yeah, and the reason why imposing your beliefs to your partner is a huge no-no is because like you're basically disregarding their own opinions and
Yeah.
their own money beliefs and their own perspectives. And if I'm in a position where if say I strongly, strongly believe in financial independence
Yeah.
and you just don't understand it or you don't connect with it at all, the mistake would be for me to constantly bash you with
Yeah.
this is what financial independence is and this is what it's about and we need to be financially independent, we need to aim for financial independence. Now, sure, the best case scenario would be that we both believe in the same thing and that we
Right.
both work together as a team in our
Yeah.
finances and we do things together. But there's going to be times where, genuinely speaking, we just don't see eye to eye on a particular issue,
Right.
and that's going to be okay. But it's just that there's ways to deal with that, and there's ways around making sure that you're working together as a team.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be a case where I'm forcing you to believe what I believe
Yeah.
just because I feel like my beliefs are stronger or even better than
Yeah.
yours.
I completely agree. And sometimes I feel like maybe it's a lack of education issue, if we're being completely honest. Because giving an example, we went through a phase where you were heavily into investing, but I wasn't. And that was mainly to do with my background growing up, where we didn't always have a lot. And security is always my biggest thing. So to me, investing at times felt like I'm not seeing the money. It's not there. Whereas if it was in a savings pot, I can look at it, bring up my phone, look at it at any time, and it's there. So it was a security thing. But you didn't then impose your beliefs of investments on me, but you took the time to then talk me through it and you helped educate me. So it was when I fully understood like why investing is important and how it can be of benefit to us. I was then like, oh, do you know what? It's actually not a bad thing. So sometimes it's the lack of education and not really understanding something. But instead of imposing your beliefs on your partner, you take that time to walk your partner through it. Have the conversations about it. Teach your partner if they don't really know, but it's about you guys having that conversation and understanding each other.
The fifth money mistake that couples make that could potentially ruin their relationship is not resolving financial disagreements and financial conflicts. This is a huge area because it's one thing to say, just leave it, walk away, we'll agree to
Yeah.
disagree, and you do what you do, I'll do my own thing, sort of situation. But at some point, you will have to come back and go through the same thing all over again.
Yeah.
And again, you might walk away and not resolve it, and you just carry on in this cycle of constantly going back and forth about this one disagreement. At some point, you're going to need to actually resolve this situation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will just boil up into a huge, huge blow up. So, one thing I would say is do not leave any financial disagreements unresolved. At the very least, try and come to some sort of resolution. The
Yeah.
resolution might be okay, you know what? We will not do it now,
Yeah.
but we will revisit maybe in a month's time.
Right.
That might be a resolution. A resolution might even be okay, we will not quite do this much money, but we'll maybe do it with less money than you would want to
Right.
do it with. That's again a resolution.
Yeah.
But to just leave disagreements unresolved, that's where the problems start to come in.
Yeah, and I think a lot of separations, when you think about how money is one of the leading causes of separations, a lot of it is to do with the fact that people probably disagree
Yeah.
and then they leave it unresolved. If you keep doing that and you keep going in the same cycle of we disagree, we're not resolving it, disagree, not resolve it, you get to a point where you're just like, well, what's the point? Like, if we can't come to an agreement and if we can't be on the same page, what's the point of even carrying on the relationship? We're better off going our separate ways. But it's important to just sit down and have the conversation. Like you were saying, because you're two different people already, there'll be times when maybe you want something and I don't. I want something you don't. But there'll be times where we just have to be like, okay, do you know what? Maybe for this month, I'll let you have it. You have what you want. But maybe further down the line, when I then want something else, you then be like, okay, I remember that time when she was like, okay, have the thing that you want. So because she wants it, she can have it. Sometimes it's just about juggling the two and just having some sort of balance and just understanding. And it's important to just resolve these things. Yes, it's not easy, but it's important to resolve them. That way you're not getting to a point where it's just too much for the both of you to deal with and you decide to go your separate ways.
And there you have it. Those are five money mistakes that couples make that could ruin their relationship. We hope that you've learned something today, particularly some of the mistakes that we've spoken about, we've made
Yeah.
ourselves, so we understand how easy they are to do. But we also understand that, yes, it's possible to change things around. So we want to encourage you that no matter what mistakes you've made in your relationship, you can definitely change. Don't forget to check out our Couples Money Starter Kit, which is a workbook to empower you and your partner to start working together as a team with your finances. Thank you for being with us today, and we hope you've enjoyed this discussion.